If your wavy hair feels super lovely and soft after you've styled it, but then about an hour later it turns dry and frizzy, this technique should really help you. You probably already have the products you need to do this technique. It is simple and it helps keep your hair softer and shinier for longer. So no need to rush out and buy another frizz fighting product. Not sure about you, but I have plenty of those already. But first, before we get into the technique, I thought it would be helpful to chat very quickly about why hair gets frizzy. But if you just want the technique, I've included timestamps so you can just jump ahead. Why does hair get frizzy? There are a few different reasons, and there are a couple of factors that I thought we'd talk about first, which we can't control, but knowing them helps us adapt our hair care. Firstly, wavy and curly hair just tend to naturally be more frizz prone. To help understand why, I turned to one of my favourite YouTubers, Dr. Michelle Wong, aka Lab Muffin. She explains that the outer layer of our hair is made up of cuticles, and her analogy is to imagine these as roof tiles. On straight hair, these sit beautifully aligned, and that means that the hair looks smooth, shiny and silky. A uniform cuticle layer also means much better moisture retention. But that's straight hair. Wavy and curly hair has its own natural bends, twists and curls, and therefore the cuticles cannot sit in the same perfect alignment that they can with straight hair. This means it's slightly harder for wavy hair to retain moisture. Another big factor which we can't control, aging. Dr. Michelle Wong, in her book The Science of Beauty, writes that hair strands tend to be more uniform in shape and look less frizzy when we're younger. She does not really go into any more detail in her book, so I decided to do some digging of my own. And I have some notes. So, a study called Age-Dependent Changes in Damage Processes of the Hair Cuticle found that particularly from your 40s onwards, hi there, the cuticle becomes more fragile and the surface properties of the hair start to deteriorate. I thought that was interesting. The lipid layer, which is a thin protective barrier on the outside of each strand, also declines with age and with damage. We're coming to damage in a minute. When that layer is reduced, the hair becomes more porous. This means that it's letting moisture in quite easily, but it is not able to retain it. And of course, this leads to roughness, dryness, and frizz. Now, you may be thinking, why are we talking about things that I cannot influence? And the reason is, I wanted to share this because there are times where I think you can easily feel very frustrated. You've perhaps been doing the same hair routine or treating your hair in the same way for years, and suddenly it's not working anymore. And you think, what's going on? What's happened? And the answer could be as simple as you are aging, your hair is getting a little bit more fragile, and therefore actually you can do something. You can change the types of products that you're using, or perhaps just the way that you're using them, which is why this method is so amazing. So knowing that your hair is naturally going to become more fragile means that you know that it will need more protection. And that leads us very nicely onto a factor that we can control, and that is damage. There are so many things that we can do that damage that outer layer of our hair. Being too rough when we brush our hair or when we try and detangle it, tight hairstyles, heat styling, bleach, colour treatments, UV exposure, environmental factors. I could go on and on and on. But I do think that damage is a really big topic, and I would like to do a whole separate video on it. So if that would be helpful, please let me know in the comments and I will start planning something. But for now, I think it's just really worth asking yourself, what can I do to reduce damage and keep my hair as healthy as possible? Because then it is going to be less dry and less frizzy. Let's get into the simple technique to lock moisture into our wavy hair. This method really works because it helps your hair stay hydrated for longer. Just 2 products help to seal the hair cuticles and reduce moisture loss. I first realised how well this worked when I was experimenting with the lock and log method. That's a curly hair technique that I tried out to see if it would work on wavy hair. I won't go into all of that right now, but if you're interested to know more, I'll link the video above. Okay, step 1, apply leave-in conditioner. Start on freshly washed hair, and the first product you want to use is a leave-in conditioner. If you're planning on heat styling, I'd definitely choose one that is also a heat protectant. I'll share some of my favourite products and combinations for this method after we've gone through the technique. Apply your leave-in conditioner all over, including the roots. Then gently brush through with, say, a tangle teaser or detangling brush to get a really good even coverage. This will also help to detangle and get rid of any knots at the same time. Step 2, apply an oil. Next, you want to take a couple of drops of oil and then rub it between your hands. This will help you get a more even coverage. Glaze the oil over your hair. Focus on mid-lengths and ends first because generally hair is drier here. It's older and it's had more exposure to damage. Then smooth the residue that's left on your palms over the roots. This will help to smooth any new growth and really help to tackle halo frizz. The oil creates a seal over the top of your leave-in conditioner. This helps to slow down moisture loss. It also smooths the cuticle and it will really keep your hair feeling so much softer for longer. I also find that it adds incredible shine. And honestly, that's it. That is the technique done. You could stop right there with just the leave-in and the oil and it will give you a lovely, soft, smooth finish. So what comes next is optional. However, you could of course then add a whole product to help enhance your natural waves if that's your preferred method. So leave-in conditioner, oil, and then your hold product, scrunch, brush style, whatever you normally do. One method I have not tested this technique with though is the bowl method or shower styling. So if you try that, please let me know how you get on. One last optional step is once your hair is completely dry, take 1 or 2 drops of oil, rub them between your hands again, and then lightly glaze over the surface of your hair. I'm sure that you probably already own a leave-in conditioner and an oil that you can try this out with first. However, I will also share with you just a couple of tips and also some of my favourite product combinations. So first tip would be think about weight, particularly if you have fine hair. And what I mean by that is if you choose to use a creamy textured leave-in conditioner, I'd recommend opting for a very lightweight oil. That way you won't run the risk of weighing down your fine hair. For me, I absolutely love the combination of Olaplex number 5. It has got a creamy texture, it spreads beautifully well throughout your hair, but it's still very lightweight. But then I would follow it up with Olaplex number 7 because that oil never ever causes my hair to be limp and lifeless. It's a really beautiful combination. Or of course you could flip that and use a lightweight conditioning spray followed by a slightly thicker oil. A great combination for this would be Not Your Mother's Curl Talk followed by something like Eliza Becker's Hair Muscle Oil. If you've got colour treated hair, the fact that the leave-in conditioner has protein will probably be very beneficial for you, and then you're locking all of those ingredients in with a slightly richer oil. Next tip, glaze your hair with the oil. Rub oil between your hands to get a really nice even spread and then glaze it from mid-lengths to ends. Your hair is older in this area and so it is bound to be on the drier and potentially more damaged side. Then with the residue that's left on the palms of your hands, glaze over the roots as well, particularly if you suffer with halo frizz. And finally, last tip is don't go too lightweight. I love a hair oil mist, but I would say that for this technique, it's going to be too light to really smooth and lock in that moisture. If you try out this technique, let me know how it goes, but also what combination you use. If you're still after some frizz fighting solutions, this video might be right up your street. Thank you as always for watching. Take care, have a lovely day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.